Good morning and welcome, everybody. Good morning and welcome. My name is Mary Bartkowski, and I am a part of the Teacher Effectiveness team. And today we are doing a mini car wash PD. Mini car wash meaning that you get in, you get the learning, you get out in 15 minutes or less guaranteed. And it is my pleasure to go ahead and introduce and spotlight today. I'm going to introduce Jess Margarito, and he is going to be discussing student engagement. Jess, I'm going to stop sharing here and I'm going to put you on a spotlight, and you can go ahead and take over whenever you're ready.
My name is Jess Margarito. I'm from Puerto Rico, originally from Los Angeles, and I'm going to share something that I've learned within my time as a teacher regarding student engagement. So, student engagement. Move this, you guys here, so I can see my own screen. Here we go. What does class engagement look like in your class? What does student engagement look like in your class? Is the way your students engage during class time meet your teaching objectives? Why not? That's a question where we have to always kind of like self-analyze throughout the semester. How are we reaching our students, and are our methods effective? Constantly, because sometimes we think they know everything that we're teaching them, and really they're just getting some parts. So I guess from my experience, I always have to do a temperature check with them. Okay, so 1 second here. I'm not seeing the screen thoroughly. Through the sections of my lesson plan, many times they promote two types of behaviors. I'm always checking through the transitions, where are they at in terms of learning? And so I call it fight or flight. They're either going to do a task avoidance, they're going to be disinterested, there's going to be either behavior issues or maybe even some learning issues as to why are they backing down from an assignment. There could be an issue of accessing the material, the curriculum. Are they fully engaged? My transitions that I look at are group work, independent practice, and guided practice. What's going on during those things? Sometimes it's very telling when you just finish your guided practice and you see the behavior right away in the first 3-4 minutes as to what they're doing. And for me, that's very telling. Okay, 1, this person is not focused on the classroom, or 2, this person doesn't know what to do but wants to try, or 3, this person's frustrated. Something's going on. So this kind of shows me that either they're avoiding the task for specific reasons, or they're interested and they're ready to go, and it shows because they got their notebook out, they got all the necessary items they need to move forward. And what can be done to re-engage the students? I worked in corrections for 13 years, 5 years with juvenile hall and 8 years with adults, and it's the same method that applies. Really, you see who is able to function at a high level with the basic understanding of your teaching skills and tools, and who is simply still lost. I call it lost in the sauce. And why? How we get them, especially at this point of the year, how do we get them refocused into the assignments? Some are just finishing up some of their senior assignments, some are finishing up tests, and some have anxiety, some have senioritis. It goes on and on, right? We have special learning interest students that have blocks, learning blocks. And how do we still engage in these last few weeks of school is kind of what's on my mind this morning. And I just wrote some quick notes for us to share. I'm just going to move you guys again because I can't see all my. Okay. What can be done for students who are disengaged at the end of the year? What type of guided practice can help? Scaffolding and weaning off. Sometimes when students have a problem, let's say they have that essay they need to finish. I'm an English teacher, but obviously you can put that into whether it be math, whether it be history, whether it be any type of culminating assignment towards the end of the semester, what kind of, sometimes they're overwhelmed. I don't care if they're a senior in UCLA, who I tutored as well. You know, they get overwhelmed and they just don't know what to do first. And so the thing is that how do we lessen that anxiety? How do we get them into a point where they are starting to work and think less about their problem and start working towards their problem? I think it is important at this point. So sometimes although maybe we have already started the guided practice all semester, right? It's nothing new. But what if they all have problems finishing this huge essay assignment that I've given them? So what I like to do is sometimes I help them directly with their issue. And sometimes it just needs a few minutes for them to get going, to kick them off and to get them going. And so I would sometimes pretend like they didn't know how to do an essay all over again. And I would start scaffolding the assignment again. And then I'll start weeding them off and say, okay, you can write the next paragraph now. We're almost done. You only need a page and a half to finish. Okay, great. And they're moving. But although it sounds funny and simple, sometimes it's just that extra person there giving them that encouragement really motivates them and re-engages them, because then they don't feel like they're on their own again. How can changes be implemented to tailor the needs of our students in order for them to complete their assignments on time? Of course, I just explained that there's certain ways we can engage our guided practices to help students get focused and re-engaged, and it can be throughout different points of the period. So I'll go on to tell you what I mean by that. Warm-ups. Embedded parts of the assignment or pacing plan. So sometimes don't have your warm-up so general where they don't have anything to do with the culminated assignment or some of the big objectives you have. Make sure that if you're running out of time and you have this big warm-up block that your administrator wants you to do, try to embed some of the assignments into the warm-up. So you can say, hey, you just started the first part of class with your warm-up. Now you can start going on to do the independent assignment, because this is what I was going to teach you anyhow. So now we already have a jump on this, and now we can get started and transitioning to other parts. So it's all relative, as opposed to sometimes I've seen some warm-ups, myself included, right? What's your favorite candy, right? and so it goes nowhere. But really, let's be more relative so that they can see that with every part of the period or part of the class time, that they're doing something that is moving them closer to the goals. Making it happen from an end to back end. I really didn't do too much exit tickets, but when they're lost, exit tickets and things like that are so important. What do you need to do in order to complete your assignment homework tonight, right? Spending the last 5 minutes on the first question of the homework or essay or math problem. What part of homework scares you the most? Why? Let's get it started. Let's do it together. So it's not such a big idea, a big situation at the end. And that's why you're avoiding your homework altogether, because maybe this big giant math problem is just intimidating you, where you just don't want to do it and you're going to settle for a C instead of a B or an A. So those are some things, is cracking at the real struggling part of their independent work sometimes is where I see in this part of the semester, the problem lies. As I said, extended guided practice for students who struggle with content and become off task, senioritis, students with needs, or students in general. Chunking the material and extra guided practice, like I said, chunking the material meaning, okay, we have this big giant essay, or we have this huge math test, and I'm going to give you a section where if you're able to do this really well, maybe your test, your math test, or your science quiz, or your essay may not be such a big idea after all, because I just gave you maybe 35% of it to do as a class. So giving them chances to piece apart their finishing assignment is something that I find important, especially if they're struggling, to work on those areas where they're where their anxiety normally will take control of them, unfortunately, or just overwhelm them, where you can say, okay, let's work together on just this piece. It doesn't mean I have to even give the answers. I could just kind of guide you as to where you're going with this assignment. So I want to talk about timed assignments per question scan. When we have this big, bad, finishing, culminating assignment, what do we need to do? What kind of methods can we do, right? Can we text scan? What do we expect? What is our expectation? If we do this new huge math unit test, or this ending essay, or this ending quiz, what can we expect? What kind of questions can we expect? Have your students thinking ahead is a really important piece, because now they're thinking in terms of not just I'm reading, I'm answering some questions, and then I don't know what's next, and now I'm scared because I didn't know that I was going to have to write an essay and answer these questions. So having this pre-designed in their minds, that there's this kind of idea of follow through, helps, because sometimes some students, they just feel like they're done. And then you say, no, we have to do 10 more things with this. And they're like, oh, well, I don't know. And, they give other problems. How do I raise interest level? One of my rules in my class is that if I'm bored, then there's something wrong, because I didn't come to be a teacher to be bored. So how do we make something? Sometimes I like Greek mythology, but it can be boring if we don't know what's going on, right? So how do we key into the abstract terms? Even math can be fascinating if you really know it, right? So how do you key into the real difficult situations that cause our students to have blocks? And how do we piece it together? And how do we show them, by example, how we're piecing it together, maybe during a guided practice or an extended guided practice, like I say, to show them how we're breaking things down so the interest is higher, because now we got rid of the big bad 10,000-pound gorilla in the room, and now we're just piecing together the rest of the assignment. That's one thing that I like to do. Of course, check in 1 to 10. Are you ready for class today? How can I help? You can do this by single or by group. You grow interest in your students, especially at the end of the year. What does that mean? What do you can ask these questions as to, what do you feel like doing this next semester? What's your next goal? What kind of job interest you have? And you ask these questions because then they find out, like even from 7th to 8th grade, they may not feel like it's relevant, but it really is. It really is feeling relevant as to why they're going in pursuit, because from a 7th to 8th grade perspective, they feel like they're 1,000 miles away from graduating, but in reality, it's only a few years, right? Well, 5 years or whatnot. So how do we give them some perspective on how unique their education is and what kind of goals they have? I think giving them importance is really important. So next, I'm going to talk about what kind of behaviors you can control in your classroom. How do we encourage? Don't be upset when they're disengaged. We redirect, we analyze, we check out the fight or flight, and we see what we can do to clear some of these issues up. How do we bridge the gaps? Are we clear? Are we unclear? What needs to be done on the one-on-one level? What kind of tutoring, maybe after school tutoring can happen, or last 15 minutes of school? How can we facilitate the people that are still struggling, that want to learn, or that are just disinterested, and why they're disinterested, and how can we help them? So 1 second here. So classroom seating with the focus of engagement. I like to seat my class in a certain way. Obviously, I'm teaching from proximity, but I still give my teacher input as to the seating arrangement, because obviously the structure of the classroom is really important. Can you see your students clearly at all times? Is there anything that can be done physically to remove any of the physical barriers, if any, to help the students focus more on assignment and lecture? It's this noise level. We get this word panopticon, but basically I can see the students all at once without having to look behind me, look around me. And so making sure that the class is properly created, the structure is properly created. So 1, it doesn't cause accidents. 2, people can access you. 3, it is an environment that looks like it's conducive to learning. That's the most important thing I wanted to share with this, because we have our special needs students, we have our behavior needs students, we have different types of challenges students coming into the class, and how can they be able to sit down in peace and work in your class and feel safe and feel like they can focus. And that's pretty much it. I know I kind of ran through a lot of things, and I can email the PowerPoint, but I just wanted to explain some things as to what I do, especially at this part of the year in my classroom.
Jess, thank you very much. I truly appreciate your time this morning.